Right then, how's it going? It's me, Shotty 4HF, and I've just done one video, and I thought, while I've got everything set up, I'll do another one. This one's only going to be a quick video, and I'm not really going to do any screen recording or anything like that. I might put a few images up to show you what I mean, but this video is just about CPU usage when making music. Even if you've got a really powerful system, there are some plugins out there that will use a lot of CPU, RAM, and the load on the audio performance. And what I've noticed over the years working with various plugins is I always keep an eye on the task manager, okay, to see what's going on. Now, I've had cases where I've had high CPU usage, and literally all I've done is disabled all of the instruments or tracks and then re-enabled them again in order, and it has dropped the CPU usage by half. So that's just one thing. The other thing I found with RAM, you know, I end up using a lot of RAM, especially with some of the instruments, the contact libraries, the pianos, the drums and everything else. There's various things you can do. You can obviously render them, bounce them down, you could just record in place, or you can freeze them in certain DAWs. You can certainly do that in Cubase. What I've noticed is, even when you go through that process, you're only dropping a little bit of RAM. And when you close the session down and actually make sure that the DAW is closed in the process, in the task manager, okay, in the processes, make sure that's closed fully. Then reopen the DAW, load up the session again, and you'll find it only uses half the amount of RAM. So for whatever reason, now this could be an issue isolated to my setup, my system, but I don't think it is. It does it with so many different plugins. It's not isolated to sort of one manufacturer or one make or one particular type of plugin. And I've even had issues with certain plugins when they're in the chain with other plugins. So for some reason, when they are in the chain together, CPU usage spikes. When they're alone, it's fine. Or if I use that plugin on another track, and so they're both open in the session but not in the same chain, the CPU usage is fine. If you keep an eye on CPU usage and RAM with what you are doing and just check it occasionally, and sometimes I'll go and I'll be like, wow, why is it running at 60%? Now with most of my sessions I can use all the plugins that I want, I can use all the instruments that I want, and I'm keeping my CPU usage generally below 30%. That's generally the case. If I go to the task manager and it's running high, there's an issue. Then it means that what I do sometimes is disable a block of tracks at a time and see if that CPU usage drops. If it doesn't, re-enable them, and then I disable another block, see if it drops. If it does, then the issue's in that block. So I guess whatever that's relating to, some of you might say I'm not really offering any kind of solution, but when I load up my old projects now where I didn't keep an eye on the task manager, I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't even know my CPU was running that high, and there's no need for it to be. It just usually means that, I don't know whether it's to do with threading, CPU threading and the order of the threads or something like that, whether they sometimes get mixed up and it's having to work harder to put the process through. And then when you disable and re-enable them, whether it's realigning the actual threading process, I'm not entirely sure on that. I'm just surmising that there's something like that going on, that a lot of the time we don't even realize is happening. And I've been able to get sessions down, old sessions from like 70% CPU down to below 30, but still have all the same things in there, all the same plugins turned on, you know, all the same instruments turned on, not frozen. It's just a case of, yeah, like I say, disabling and enabling and rearranging things, making sure the order of things is okay. In those instances where two plugins seem to be conflicting in the same chain, then yeah, I might just find an alternative and go, okay, well, they obviously don't like being together in the same chain, and yeah, you could get away with it if it's not a big project, but when your project starts to go past 60 tracks, 100 tracks, especially with all the parallel processing and, you know, all the busing and everything else, and if you've got plugins on there as well, it can all start to mount up. And all I'm saying is keep an eye on your task manager, see what some of these plugins are doing, and also when you're trying to free up RAM by going through some of these processes, just check to see if it actually has freed up the RAM. see if it's made any difference. And I'll put a couple of pictures on the screen just to show you what's happened before and after closing a session down and opening it back up. That's either after freezing, rendering, or bouncing in place. And yeah, for some reason the RAM doesn't always clear fully. So yeah, that's my advice on this one. It's only a short video. Keep an eye on your task manager, see what some of these plugins are up to, and if they're causing any issues, then work through it methodically to try and reduce that. Sometimes it really does work and it makes a difference. But that's it for this video. Just thought this might help somebody if somebody's going through the same situation and hasn't noticed this yet, or even tried to keep an eye on it, or even thought of keeping an eye on it. I'd recommend that you do that. Thank you for watching. If you found it helpful, please let me know in the comments, give it a like and subscribe, because I will be doing more videos like this. That's it. Take it easy. Stay creative. Keep smiling. Sound.
She's thirsty.